Hi guys, Dave Rosendahl here. So I want to take you behind the scenes on a thought process that we're going to be sharing more and more about here over the coming couple of weeks, a couple of months. So if you rewind about 2 years ago, we reached a point here in our company where we wanted to and needed to desperately generate more leads in order to continue to grow our company, in order to continue to grow our sales. And we were at a point where we just were having so much difficulty doing that. It was as if the things that used to work just stopped working entirely. I don't know if you've ever felt this, where the things that used to generate you the leads and the sales that you're accustomed to just stopped working. And so the challenge that was in front of us was, can we revitalize our lead generation here without cheating and getting VC money, if you will, which would mean losing control, putting more money in ourselves, investing more money into the company. And so it was at that point that I decided to take the challenge on myself. And I knew that we weren't going to survive if we continued to do the things that we were doing. We needed to change. And I felt as if I needed to do this myself and really understand what was going on or risk losing everything. And so through that process, as I went through this, I felt really confident about what we could do, but at the same time, I was kind of scared. We had and we still have great people working for us, many of whom at that time, many of the people then are still working for the company now, but for some reason, what we were doing just wasn't working. We weren't making it happen, and it felt like we were slowly dying, if you will. So what I did is I started experimenting with anything and everything that would help us generate more leads and more sales. At heart, I'm a geek. I love marketing and I love technology and I love where the two of those come together. So I suddenly found myself back in a spot where I was able to experiment, which is something I like to do, where I was able to break things down and understand how they work behind the scenes and start figuring out things that would help us take advantage of all of the new opportunities that are out there in the market, new ways of reaching our customers, new ways of reaching our prospects. And specifically, I found ways to drive traffic and generate leads that we were not tapping into. And suddenly, we had more leads than we knew what to do with. Now, certainly not all of the leads were great, but we were far from dead. We were far from calling this, all hope is lost. We found that there was plenty of life left in the market. And what I found worked best was content marketing, or a form of content marketing, meaning using high value content. That could be things like ebooks, PDF downloads, emails, podcasts. We started doing a podcast, videos like this one, and leveraging those to create meaningful engagements with prospects and clients, and then using that as the first step of a multi-touch, multi-channel kind of campaign that resulted in that individual becoming a lead. So they may just watch the video or they may just read a blog post and not actually provide us any information about themselves in the first encounter, but down the road, we figured out how to turn that passive viewer into an actionable lead. And it felt great. It felt wonderful to finally, kind of restart the lead machine. So as I went through this, I saw that, okay, good content is essential for this kind of engagement, for creating leads and for creating, or taking people from being cold to being warm to being hot. But what I found is that it was a struggle to find time to write the content, to create more content. And it was hard for me to do that myself, to continue pumping out high quality content, and even harder in some cases to expect my team and others in the company to do that. It takes a lot of work. So we tried a lot of different things to try to create more content, but overall the time required just was too much. It was a big burden. Not to mention that building out these multi-channel campaigns with these different touch points was hard. The thing that's ironic is Mindfire is a multi-channel technology company, right? We have software that does that. But you got to move quickly when you're in these situations. You got to try a lot of things. And if you're hamstrung by your technology or by trying to glue together too many solutions or dependent on different people to do things to help you get these campaigns running, it becomes frustrating. It's no longer cost effective or it's no longer ROI positive to do these things. And so it was frustrating for me to try to experiment, come up with all these new ways of warming up cold traffic and turning it into warm leads for our sales team. Not to mention all the energy that it takes. You know, it was a lot of time to understand how to create effective content, how to create headlines that engage people, how to create emails that take people from step A to step B to step C. All of this took an extreme amount of dedication on my part and the part of others here to try to learn how to do this effectively. I could go on and on. You know all of the things that's required. So I got to this point where I was like, okay, I'm frustrated here. Again, I know this works, but it's so much freaking work to get it to happen. It was just way too much. Then I discovered a mechanism that allowed me to use other people's content, leveraging what was already working for other people. I figured out a way to reverse engineer what kind of content works, specifically which content works that others are using, and then ethically, not doing anything malicious, using that content to create leads and sales at a fraction of the time and the cost of what I was previously doing. And it was these types of techniques that yielded for us hundreds, if not thousands of leads in some cases off of each one of these little content pieces. So I felt like, okay, now I figured out the content piece. Now I know a way of doing that, right? A lot of energy went into figuring that out, but once I did, I said, okay, now I know how to do the content piece. But the challenge was still the technology side. How do you create campaigns that leverage multi-touch, multi-channel, that get this content out in front of your prospects and your clients, and how do you get that to happen quickly? And so we created a side project here inside of Mindfire. And we called that side project DaVinci. And the whole idea behind DaVinci was to try to take what we were doing and package it up into blueprints, if you will, that could be rapidly reused so that every time we had one of these crazy ideas, we didn't have to go back to the drawing board and start from scratch. So it's kind of like, DaVinci's kind of like having a world-class marketer, techno marketer geek on your staff, but he doesn't ask for a paycheck. He's not asking for time off. He's not complaining about stuff. And instead of coming to you and asking you for ideas, DaVinci's saying, here's a way you could do it. Just fill in these blanks and I'll get up and running for you quickly. So that was the idea behind DaVinci. And what it allowed us to do suddenly, what it allowed me to do and others, is launch campaigns quickly. Now, by the way, just if you're thinking, well, this wouldn't work, this kind of stuff doesn't work for me. It works for you guys because you guys are technical. Yes, I am technical. I can code. But the beauty of DaVinci is even for somebody like me who happens to know how to code, I can still do things so much more quickly than I used to. And it's no longer dependent on any one special skill set. It's no longer dependent on any one special person with skills to be able to write content or create these campaigns because A, we've cracked the nut around how to create compelling content by using other people's content, and B, we have the technology that allows us to do that so much more quickly. So that's the point of DaVinci. That's how we're able to now do things the way we are. And I want to share more of that process with you. So we're starting to do some educational webinars to help you understand how to ethically use other people's content to generate leads much, much more quickly. How you can do this type of stuff in under an hour. Really, it's quite amazing how quickly you can create these campaigns once you understand how to change your thinking, how you go about this. And then third, you could create this great content, you could create these great campaigns, but you got to drive traffic to them, right? And it's increasingly expensive to pay Facebook and pay Google. Sorry, guys. It's increasingly expensive to pay those companies to drive traffic. Certainly very, very viable. But if you don't have that money or you don't have that expendable budget, where do you get the traffic from? So we figured out a way to drive traffic without having to pay Google or Facebook. And I want to show you that too. So we're creating a webinar to kind of package this up. And we're calling it a web class where we give you the training necessary to understand these concepts and put them into place. And so I'll be sending invites to you and you'll start seeing this promoted in other places so that we can get you on that training and start to get you this same sort of tool set, same sort of skill sets to help you be able to do this quickly. All right, guys? Well, it's great for you to spend time with me today. I really appreciate that. I'm honored to have you on this short video. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you in one of those web classes coming up soon. Bye-bye.